welcome back guys to a brand new Universal Tower Defense video. In today's video we will be maxing out every single new unit, maybe not every single one, but we will be maxing out every single new potential meta unit in the new 4.0 Bleach update. So first off, we will start off with the Flame Captain. For this unit you can get it in the City Boss Rush or the Act 5. He's a 5% chance drop. Now the raid is pretty hard to do, so I suggest having a pretty good team. You will need some of the new units to be able to finish this, or you could do it with some of the older meta units. Now let's get to maxing out this brand new unit. So what we're going to start off with is we're going to go get Ruler on him really quickly. So as you can see, I already have a Mevote, so we already have a Mevote, so that'll be perfectly fine. Let's put on our auto clicker and quickly get a Ruler on this guy. Alright, so it shouldn't be too hard to get Ruler. We do have 5.7k trade rerolls, so either way I'd say we should spend the trade rerolls before we do spend our Ruler ticket. As I do have a Ruler ticket, there was a code that will give you one. And then we will go over and try max out every single unit that we have at the moment. I try to collect as much units as I can before making this video. So we're going to try max out as much units as we can, fully etherealize them and get the proper artifacts. Now let's get this Ruler. So as it looks, we will be hitting pity on him, which is very tragic, but it's fine. Maybe we'll roll a double Ruler. That would be pretty cool. Let's see. And it's just a normal Ruler. That's fine. Okay, well we got Ruler on him. So that's the first unit down. Alright, perfect. So we got the Ruler on him. We might as well etherealize him really quickly. All to 6 stars and then add some relics. Alright, so we hopped into a quick infinite match just to test out every single one of these units. So we got our Flame Captain maxed out. We etherealized them and added some relics to him. They're not the best relics, but they're also not the worst. And then we also have the new Moonless Transcendent, which is Ichigo, the king, which recently actually just got nerfed. His dot damage got nerfed and he is pretty nerfed to the ground, as that's what made him really good. And then of course the one that we just upgraded is going to be our Flame Captain Yamamoto. I'm going to place Gojo back here. I just put him there to fit the team. But we will be doing this infinite and I will come back once I have them all maxed out so we can see how good they do. Alright, so let's start off with our Flame Captain or Yamamoto. So he starts off with 3k damage. Then when we slowly go him up, on his new ability he has 5k and he unlocks a full AoE. Then on the next one 65k, on the new damage he does 76k, and then on the last upgrade 96k. Now, obviously that's not the best. I don't have the best relics on him, but now we can read his passives, as a lot of people have said that he is a really good boss killer. So his ability Health South drastically increases his damage till the next attack and summons 18 skeletons around his range with 25 damage as health. And then if you read his passives as well, we can see that his damage is slowly going up. So let's see what's happening here. When they go under his range, he gets 5 damage attacks. They cool down 20 seconds and the boss under his range apply burn for 20% damage before it takes to all enemies, which is pretty OP. But let's use his ability now and see how much he rises to. He rises all the way to 477k, which is not the best, but I will tell you why. If we go into unit info, we can also see here that his skeletons have 28k. If we go into info and go into the relics, as you can see, I don't have the right relics for him as I couldn't find any, so I'm using the Fierce Warrior bottoms. But you could use a part of the Shadow Reaper set as well, and it could increase his damage by a lot as you will get the set bonus. So that's Yamamoto, a pretty OP unit, especially for boss killing. Now we can move on to the next one, which is going to be Yhwach, who got nerfed to the ground. Let's upgrade to his first attack. Now he's on 64k, and then to his last one he does 120k. Before we use the ability, let's go into our buffs, sorry not buffs, but into our info, and let's read his passives as well. So his Reshimanti Manipulation is what got nerfed, and on attack it applies blue burn for 10%, which I'm pretty sure is what got nerfed, and that's what nerfed him to the ground. Then for his damage cap is 300 for every unit in range, he gets 5 ticks. Then he has the Almighty, where you use the active ability and choose which form. The self buff, you gain a new passive and a transfer stun and a debuff to allies in range. And then the others buff is gain a new passive and transfer stun and debuffs from allies through itself, which is actually pretty cool as well. Then we have the All-Seeing Eye. This passive changes based on the form picked in the Almighty. This unit has a stun immunity, which is pretty good. Now let's use his ability as well, so as we can see we have buff others or a self buff. Let's do the self buff, as that's usually the best one. And once we use a self buff, his damage rises all the way to 81k. Now if I look at the relics I put on him, I have the full Shadow Reaper set, which should be doing pretty decent damage. But I am pretty sure I didn't fully max them out as I could, as I only did this to showcase you guys as best as I can and as fast as I can. As you can see, our Flame Captain also ran invisibility and you can use it again. That's going to be your watch. We can finish that up and go on to the next one, the most hyped one out of them all. And it's going to be Ichigo. So for Ichigo, on his first attack, he gets 37k and then 9k at the end. Obviously, his damage once again could be way higher, as my relics for him could be better, as I have the Monarch pants instead of the Shadow Reaper pants, as I low-key need to go grind some relics. Then for his passives, we might as well look at it. He blocked it. On stun, he ignored the stun and debuffs the counter attack for 100% damage. Then, if the counter hasn't been triggered in 15 seconds, counter attack for 125% damage, but don't apply pressure. Then Final Moonfang is the ability that he has, and use the active ability to enter Final Moonfang form. You get plus 250% damage, 50% critical rate, and a plus 250% critical damage. Release a Final Moonfang attack for 50% damage, so this is very good to use on bosses once again. It's like a mini nuke. And then lose 10 of each buff gained in this form. When each buff was reached 0, this unit becomes unsellable and enter human form for 30 seconds. When human form ends, return to base form with no upgrades. So that's pretty the bad part about Ichigo, but other than that, he's a pretty good unit. Then overwhelming strength. On attack, apply pressure for 10 seconds, apply confusion for 2 seconds, and enemies take 25% damage from all sources. Then when attacking an enemy with pressure, deal 50% damage. When an enemy with pressure enters half this unit's range, instantly deal 50% damage to the enemy. And then the last one, Ryatsu Release. On attack, release a lingering follow-up attack. Deal 60% damage per second for 3 seconds. For every enemy the first hit kills, increase follow-up duration by 1 second, cap 10 seconds. When follow-up ends, plus 10% critical damage, cap plus 100, follow-up cooldown 10 seconds. Now, let's use his ability and see it. There is a cutscene that actually shows once he uses abilities, but I accidentally had my cutscenes turned off. So once we use it, it has 268 damage. But with the right relics, it could be going up to 600k. So, as you can see, also Ichigo's passive is he pulls back the enemies, which is also pretty good. And he's going to stay in this form till his buff runs out, as the passive has said. When he gets out of his form, he's going to turn back into a human for 30 seconds and do absolutely nothing. Then you have to fully upgrade him back into this again, which is pretty annoying, but what can you do? And then I think that'll be it for the 3 of the units. If you guys want me to showcase anything else in the next video, make sure to comment down below what unit you want me to get and showcase, and we will be doing that next. Also, make sure to like and subscribe, as I want to do more of this content and I want to know and hear feedback from you guys if you like this type of content, or should we do something else.